This is the story of the day a hyena's brutal chase ended in humiliation. The wounded ox limped through the tall, dry grass, blood trailing from a fresh gash on its hind leg. Behind it, silent but swift, a hyena stalked, eyes fixed, jaws parted slightly, tasting the scent of weakness. The sun was falling, casting long golden rays that pierced the grass like spears. Each step the ox took was slower, heavier. The predator knew it was only a matter of time. The jungle had no rules, only instinct. And right now, the hyena's instincts screamed one thing: finish it. It darted forward, closing the gap. The ox turned its heavy head in panic, hooves scraping against the uneven ground. There was no escape. Trees were too far. The herd was gone. All that remained was the pounding of its own heart and the sound of padded feet getting louder. But just as the hyena lunged, something unexpected emerged from the forest line. A wall of noise, stomping hooves, and dust buffalo. A herd of Cape buffaloes, alert and furious, charged in from the left, horns lowered, eyes blazing. The ground shook with their arrival. The lead buffalo let out a thunderous bellow that echoed through the trees like a war cry. The hyena hesitated. 1 second. That was all it took. The lead buffalo slammed into it from the side, sending the predator flying through the air and crashing into a bush. The rest of the herd closed ranks around the wounded ox, snorting, growling, stamping, daring any threat to come closer. The hyena scrambled back to its feet, limping now, confused, then vanished into the underbrush. Defeated not by its prey, but by unexpected loyalty. In the wild, strength is respected, but unity is feared. The ox collapsed to its knees, breath shallow. One buffalo, likely a matriarch, stepped closer and stood beside it, her presence calm but commanding. She nudged it gently, then circled once as if guarding the fallen. Moments like this aren't rare in the jungle, they're just rarely seen. Bonds go deeper than survival. Even in a place ruled by the hunt, compassion sometimes rises stronger than hunger. As the sun vanished behind the hills, painting the sky in deep amber and burnt crimson, the herd stayed with the ox. No one spoke, no one moved. The jungle stood still, watching something ancient and true unfold. Sometimes, what saves us is not strength, but the ones who refuse to let us fall alone. The wounded ox struggled to rise, his legs trembling. But before he could get up, the hyena pounced. Its teeth sank deep into the ox's already bleeding leg, making the wound even worse. The ox cried out in pain, collapsing back down onto the ground. The hyena snarled, pleased with the meal that lay before him. He began to feast, tearing chunks of flesh from the dying animal. The jungle watched silently, aware of the drama unfolding. The ox, terrified and in agony, thrashed wildly, desperate to escape the hyena's clutches, but his efforts were futile. The hyena clung on tight, ripping into his leg, enjoying the taste of blood. But suddenly, a change came over the hyena's face. It stopped its attack and lifted its head, ears pricked, listening intently to the sounds of the jungle. A low growl rumbled in its throat as it slowly backed away from the struggling ox. The ox, sensing the shift, tried to scramble away, but his injured leg gave way and he tumbled back down. The hyena paused at a safe distance, watching the ox with a mixture of curiosity and caution. The wind carried a new scent to its keen nose, something that made it uneasy. The ox, taking advantage of the distraction, managed to get on his feet, albeit with difficulty. He stumbled forward, seeking help from the nearby herd. Meanwhile, the hyena, sensing danger, decided it was time to retreat. It disappeared into the tall grass, hoping to find a better vantage point from which to observe the situation. As the hyena slipped away, the ox finally reached the herd. They surrounded him, their bodies shielding his. The lead buffalo, a majestic female with a commanding presence, nudged him reassuringly. Her eyes, wise and knowing, conveyed a message of comfort and protection. The other buffaloes snorted and pawed the ground, their voices a chorus of defiance, ready to stand up against any threat. The ox, overwhelmed with gratitude, leaned against the buffalo, drawing strength from their unity. The ordeal had taken a toll on him, and he knew he couldn't have survived without their intervention. In the heart of the jungle, an ancient bond had formed between two unlikely allies, a testament to the power of unity and resilience. And so our tale begins on the edge of the watering hole. The setting sun casts long shadows as a lone ox comes to quench his thirst. His world, much like the watering hole itself, is parched and dusty, mirroring the dryness in his soul. But as he lowers his head to drink, a figure emerges from the acacia trees. It's a spotted hyena, sleek and cunning, with eyes that gleam with predatory intent. For the hyena, the ox represents a chance at sustenance, a potential meal in a landscape where survival often hinges on seizing fleeting opportunities. But this is no ordinary hyena. This is a Sali whose name whispers of ferocity and prowess. Renowned for her hunting skills and relentless spirit, she is a formidable force in these parts. Meanwhile, the ox, oblivious to the danger lurking nearby, takes a moment to savor the cool water. He doesn't know it yet, but this respite is but a pause in a story that's been written in the stars. A story of survival, courage, and an unbreakable bond. As the ox raises his head, a sudden movement catches his eye. It's the hyena. She's tensed, ready to strike. Time seems to slow. In this tableau of sun-drenched savanna, instinct and anticipation hang heavy in the air. With a burst of speed that belies her lithe frame, the hyena darts forward. Her target, the ox's flank, where a well-placed bite can bring down even the most resilient of prey. The ox reacts instinctively, pivoting on his haunches and sending a kick aimed at his assailant. The hyena, agile and quick-witted, sidesteps the blow, her laughter echoing across the plains. This game of cat and mouse has begun, played out on a stage where every move could mean the difference between life and death. In the heart of the chase, the ox pushes forward, his breath coming in ragged gasps. His world narrows to the immediate, the feel of the sun-baked earth beneath his hooves and the pounding of his own heart in his ears. He runs not just to stay ahead of the hyena, but to reach the safety of the herd. He remembers the comforting sight of his fellow oxen and the reassuring presence of the buffaloes. Their massive forms a bulwark against the perils of the wild. With each stride, the hope of reaching them sustains him. The hyena, ever at his heels, matches his pace effortlessly. Her lean muscles rippling beneath her spotted coat. She seems tireless, her eyes gleaming with a mix of challenge and determination. She's not just hunting, she's testing her skills against a worthy opponent. As the chase intensifies, the ox realizes he cannot outrun the hyena forever. He needs a diversion, a chance to outsmart his pursuer and turn the tables. Spotting a thicket of acacia trees up ahead, he veers toward it, hoping to lose himself in the maze of thorns. The hyena, quick to read his intentions, follows closely behind. She knows the ox well enough to anticipate his moves, and she won't let him escape so easily. The dry leaves crackle underfoot as the ox crashes through the undergrowth, branches whipping at his sides. The hyena, equally adept at navigating such terrain, keeps pace with him. Here, amidst the tangled foliage, the rules of the chase are momentarily suspended. They are locked in a battle of wits, each trying to outmaneuver the other. Suddenly, the ox spots a gap near the top of the thicket. With a final burst of energy, he leaps up and over, landing on the other side. He looks back, to see if he's shaken off the hyena. But there she is, emerging from the foliage, her eyes fixed on him, her gaze unwavering. The chase is far from over. As the sun dips below the horizon, casting long shadows across the savanna, the ox knows he must make a stand. The hyena, circling him, is preparing for the final act of this deadly dance. He stands firm, his horns lowered, ready to defend himself against the approaching storm of teeth and claws. The hyena, in turn, advances cautiously, sizing up her prey, her ears swiveling, catching every sound. For a moment, they are locked in a silent standoff, each gauging the other's strength, each knowing that soon the tranquility of the evening will be shattered. The ox, drawing strength from his lineage, feels the spirits of his ancestors. Coursing through his veins, he is a descendant of mighty beasts, and he won't go down without a fight. The hyena, too, is driven by instincts honed over millennia. She is the epitome of feline grace and power, and she won't be denied her hard-earned prey. As the tension reaches a fever pitch, a sudden sound pierces the stillness. It's the distant rumble of thunder. The sky, which was clear moments ago, is now darkening, signaling the coming of a storm. The chase and the impending confrontation between the ox and the hyena take on a new urgency. The storm serves as a backdrop, mirroring the drama unfolding on the ground. The hyena makes her move. With a burst of speed, she closes the distance between them and launches herself at the ox. Her jaws open wide, revealing a set of teeth designed to crush and tear. The ox counters with a powerful headbutt, sending the hyena sprawling. But the hyena, quick and nimble, is back on her feet in an instant. The battle continues, played out in the deepening twilight. Amidst the chaos, a figure emerges from the gathering gloom. It's a lone buffalo, drawn by the commotion. The buffalo, a symbol of strength and resilience, joins the fray, adding its weight to the defense of the beleaguered ox. The hyena, sensing the shift in the odds, pauses, her eyes assessing the situation. She knows she's in a precarious position, and a strategic retreat might be in her best interest. As if on cue, the first raindrops begin to fall, heavy and urgent. The buffalo, with a final snort of disdain, turns and disappears back into the gloom, leaving the ox to tend to his wounds. The hyena, taking advantage of the buffalo's departure, slinks away into the tall grass, melting back into the shadows from which she came. The rain, coming down in earnest now, washes away the tension and the threat. The ox, shaken but not broken, looks up at the stormy sky. The storm, much like his ordeal with the hyena, is a test of his endurance, but he has survived both, and that is what matters. In the heart of the storm, the ox finds solace, realizing that sometimes the greatest strength lies in the bonds of camaraderie and the courage to face one's fears. And so our tale draws to a close, leaving us with the echoes of a chase under a stormy sky and the reminder that in the theater of nature, every encounter is a story waiting to be told.